Hello, I'm David, and welcome to another Nic Fit video. This time, we're trying out the Streets of New Capenna cards, and specifically Riveteers Ascendency. This is a Jund colored card, and it's an enchantment. Whenever you sacrifice a creature, you may return target creature card with lesser mana value from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Do this only once each turn. So this can be a very powerful enchantment. But Legacy is a very powerful format, and so you're always sort of comparing this against Legacy cards that don't even see a ton of play, like Recurring Nightmare. This allows you, one, this actually is a sack outlet, as opposed to the other one requiring a sack outlet, and this lets you return any creature, even something of greater mana value. So to really make a deck where Riveteers Ascendency fits, you have to be exploiting this in some way. And there's a couple things that you can do to exploit Riveteers Ascendency more than you can Recurring Nightmare. So one, this works or triggers off of creatures that sacrifice when they enter the battlefield. So this includes the pitch elementals like Grief and Endurance. It also includes like Kroxa, Titan of Death's Hunger, or any other sort of evoke elemental like Shriekmaw. So these all can trigger Riveteers Ascendency where they don't work with Recurring Nightmare. One of the other cool things about Riveteers Ascendency is if you can somehow sacrifice a creature on the opponent's turn, then it can trigger sort of twice. So it says do this only once each turn. So you can sacrifice a creature on your turn, and then if you can sacrifice a creature on the opponent's turn somehow, that will also trigger Riveteers Ascendency. So this deck doesn't have a ton of ways to do that. Outland Liberator can sacrifice during the opponent's turn. The key card is probably Phyrexian Tower, which can always sacrifice things at any time. But yeah, just to round out the list, Grist the Hungertide, this is probably like the best green creature / planeswalker that's been printed in a long time. It can be returned off of Recurring Nightmare. It creates fuel for Recurring Nightmare. It creates it can be returned off of Riveteers Ascendency. This card's really powerful. Marin of Clan Neltoth, again, just a value creature. The top end of the curve, Primeval Titan. I'm running a small Field of the Dead package here. Only 22 lands with a Dryad Arbor, but I'm running 2 Malakir Rebirths. So these are modal double-face lands. And they have an... you can choose a creature, lose 2 life until end of turn. If that creature dies, you return it to the battlefield tapped. So this is pretty cool with the pitch elementals. So like you can get a pretty crazy turn 1, evoke Grief, Malakir Rebirth. But even if you don't get something like that, just anytime you sacrifice a creature, you can just Malakir Rebirth it and get it back. Other sack outlets, Cabal Therapy, stuff like that. You can also just use Malakir Rebirth with something like Kroxa to get a double trigger. Pretty cool. So this is the list. It's running Fiend Artisans as just sort of a recurring sack outlet. It's also another card to return off of Riveteers Ascendency. You'll notice for like a Nic Fit deck, this actually has a pretty high concentration of creatures. 24 creatures. I would say Nic Fit runs usually more like 16, 17. So this is pretty high. We're going to see how this goes in a league. I'm interested to see how this racks up. I do think that this could be a total disaster, and I might just get wrecked. Yeah. Oh, and I wanted to mention Liliana Heretical Healer is another sort of planeswalker that you can return off of Riveteers Ascendency or off of Recurring Nightmare. It also even creates fuel for Recurring Nightmare when it flips. So this is a card that, like, I've never really been able to make work in Legacy, but I figure if there's a deck where this works in Legacy, this has got to be it. It just very high concentration of non-token creatures, lots of sack outlets. You can play Liliana on turn 3 and then evoke a pitch elemental and immediately flip her. So I'm hoping that this card does a little bit of work, and it can be found off of Fiend Artisan, so that's pretty cool. Just to round out the sideboard, a couple big creatures in here that are sort of matchup specific ones. Rurik Thar, sort of any like deck that's trying to do chain multiple spells, any sort of Storm deck or anything like that. Obviously getting to 6 mana against Storm is hard, but figure better to have it than not. And Bane of Progress, this is for the 8 cast matchup. This deck, I think the 8 cast matchup's got to be extremely hard for this deck. I haven't played a single game with this deck at all, so I'm probably just going to get obliterated. But Bane of Progress, um, this has been awesome against 8 cast in other decks that I've played. I don't know how it's gonna match up here, but it can recur Bane of Progress. You can get it with Fiend Artisan. You can get it with Green Sun Zenith. So I'm hoping this works out. Mass Vandal, this is for any deck that cares about enchantments or artifacts a lot. I'll probably side it in even against something like 8-cast, but really this can take care of like a Cauldron Complete. That's one of the big things that this card can do. And since there's a lot of sack outlets in this deck, I expect to have a creature in the graveyard. Run Afowls are for Murktide Regents or Merit Lodge. So Run Afoul can just, gets around any sort of any way to protect Merit Lodge, basically, and it's a 1-mana green answer to Murktide Regent, which is probably the big bogeyman of the format. 3 Red Blasts, you need these against Murktide Regents, against Delver, but also it's it's an answer to any of the like Hull Breacher decks too. I think that this deck doesn't have a ton against that other than discard, so we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Magus of the Moon is for any like lands-based matchup, especially Cloud Post, which again feels like a very hard matchup for this deck. Surgical Extractions for graveyard decks, although I am running 4 main deck Endurances, so hopefully graveyard decks aren't quite as bad as a lot of other decks that are maybe running 1 or 2 main deck Endurances. I'm running the full 4. Like, this deck has to have a way to fight your Reanimators or your Oops or your Doomsdays. Like, without it, I'm just going to lose the game real fast. And the last sideboard card, a second Shriek Maw. I'll probably side this in against any deck that's running a bunch of creatures that are non-black and non-artifact. So, I might even bring it in against something like 8-cast. It can still hit a couple targets in that deck, although notably not the blue artifact, so it can't hit the Kappa Cannoneer. But that's the deck. Hopefully it works out. We'll see how it goes. Generally in Nic Fit, I know some people are they're familiar with my thoughts on Nic Fit from the Nic Fit Discord. I sort of think like you have to be doing something unfair, or the deck like will fall to something that is doing something unfair. There's a lot of unfair decks in Legacy. You got to be doing something unfair, whether that's Karn the Great Creator, or whether that's Natural Order or something, right? Withered Bloom Apprentice with Chain of Smog. You got to be doing something. You got to be doing something unfair. This deck doesn't really do too much unfair. It's sort of like a more standard, old school value town Nic Fit. And I sort of don't know if this is that well positioned in Legacy right now. But I'm hoping between, it does have a lot of things that it can do really fast, between 4 Endurances and 3 Griefs. So I'm hoping that maybe this is a path forward. So we're gonna try it out. So I'm gonna hop into a league and we'll see how it goes. All right, on the play, I have definitely played against this person before, but I don't really remember what they play. So we're gonna see how it goes. Okay, this is kind of an interesting hand here. I'm definitely going to keep it, I think. So I can evoke Grief, pitch Marin or Kroxa, and then Cabal Therapy, and then turn 2 Green Sun for Veteran Explorer, Flashback Therapy, and then play Kroxa. That seems insane. Yeah, I'm keeping this. Now the big question here for me is, because once you evoke Grief, you'll know exactly what they have in their hand. So Therapy will be a guaranteed hit. My question is, what do I want to pitch? Do I want to pitch Kroxa or do I want to pitch Marin? I think I'm going to pitch Marin. And I'm going to hope that Kroxa can get there, because that's a second discard, or that's more discard the turn after. So that's really powerful. So I'm going to evoke this, and I'm going to exile Marin, even though I love Marin. We're going to see how this goes. We'll see what my opponent does. Let's see what they got. All right, here. 2 Murktide Regents, a Brazen Borrower, and a Force of Will. So I think here you take the Force of Will and then you Cabal Therapy them for Murktide Regent. I think that's my path forward. So I think you take the Force of Will, you lose the grief, and then you Cabal Therapy them for Murktide. And then they lose two more things to that. Let's see, there's always that bug where it shows Petty Theft and Brazen Borrower, so I'm just going to do that. All right, Cabal Therapy. And then let's hit Murktide Region here. From a deck standpoint, this looks basically like Blue-Red Delver. So I'm leaving them with a Ponder and some other stuff, but, you know, let's see here. So they lose that and they lose these. So they have these 4 and an unknown card. So we'll see what they do now. Ponder, Brazen Borrower, and Mishra's Bauble are the knowns. All right, there's Ponder. So here, I'm leaning towards Green Sun for Veteran Explorer, and then play Kroxa. All right, my opponent is bobbled, and they pondered. So they have now 2 unknown cards and a Brazen Borrower. They can daze my Green Sun Zenith here, and that would make me sad. Primeval Titan. Yeah, well, Primeval Titan, I hope to get there. But yeah, Veteran Explorer is a way to get there, so I'm going to just play into Daze and hope that they don't have it, even though they have 3 unknown cards. So if I can flash this back and hit the Brazen Borrower, that would be big time. Oh, I get it. All right. So I'm absolutely hitting the Brazen Borrower here. And then I'm going to get... It's kind of sad because I want to get more green, but I kind of want to play Kroxa this turn. So I might just go Mountain, Swamp. That leaves me really vulnerable here. It leaves me really vulnerable, but also lets me play Kroxa and gets me pretty close to or closer to flashing back Kroxa. So I'm going to do it. So we're just going to go Swamp and Mountain, and then I'm going to play Kroxa. I'm going to name Brazen Borrower here. My opponent could have a Brainstorm to hide it. Okay, 1 basic. They have the Brainstorm. So the question here is, do I name Brazen Borrower anyway, or do I just do it? Okay. Could they be tricking me here? I'm going to go out on a limb and say that they're not, and I'm going to name something else that's presumably a 4 of in their deck, like Dragon Rage Channeler. That's probably the card that I fear the most anyway. Dragon's Rage Channeler. So that's probably the card that I don't want to see the most. You know, so and Mishra's Bauble really tells me they have this card in their deck. Between Volcanic Island and Mishra's Bauble, like, there's no other reason to have those in your deck unless you're running Dragon Rage Channeler. So I'm going to name Dragon Rage Channeler here. Nothing other than a Daze. Oh, and they have the Wasteland to punish me. Awesome. Well, this is going to hurt. Do I want to play the Kroxa into Daze? It's a good question. I'm sure they have a Brazen Borrower on top. I might hold it back and just let them play something out and just guarantee that it resolves next turn. You know, no reason to play into Daze, so I'm going to hold it back. Sort of defeats my purpose. I totally should have. If I knew that I was going to do that, this would be a forest. And then, so they're going to Wasteland me. But I can still play Kroxa, and this actually gets me 1 land closer to Kroxa. And then, do they have a Murktide right here? Of course they do. Awesome. All right, well, cool beans. We're going to Kroxa here. We'll see what they discard. All right, well, that's it for me. Now, this Blue-Red Delver deck is very hard to beat. It is definitely the best deck in the format right now. Well, there's a forest. Gets me a little closer, but this is still a pretty fast clock. I can Cabal Therapy for the Daze. I assume that they'll play a Brazen Borrower in response, because that's the other card they have in their hand. And then they have a 2-turn clock. Yep. So this is discarded, and then they have days. So I'm going to just hit the days. Yep. And that's my turn. So, and even if I flashback Kroxa, like that's not enough. I don't even know what I can draw here that gets me out of this problem. There's not really Shriek Maw, I guess, would solve this problem. That's about all I can draw. And even that, I'm still in pretty dire straits. That's not going to do it. So got Delvered. Yeah, making people discard. Definitely a double-edged sword in Legacy. Cool. Well, against Blue-Red Delver, definitely bringing in Shriek Maw. And I think I want all this. I want a bunch more, you know, just stuff that kills people. Stuff that kills creatures, rather. Because they actually only have typically 11 to 12 threats. So I'll probably side those in. What's cute? To be honest, Croaks is probably not very good. Outland Liberator is probably not very good. Collector Roof isn't very good. I don't hate most of these. Riveteers Ascendency, sadly, is probably slow for this matchup. Although, to be honest, like, they don't have a lot in the way of, like they don't have any exile effects, so Riveteers Ascendency isn't bad. But yeah, I'm going to probably side those out. That, I think, brings in these 5. I definitely want the Shriek Maw 100%. I don't know if Primeval Titan is where I want to be, but I do kind of want to have a top-end threat. I think without the Riveteers Ascendency, Kroxa is probably not very good. The rest of this, I think, has a place. Even Recurring Nightmare. I like Recurring Nightmare in this kind of a matchup better than Riveteers Ascendency. It's harder for them to sort of interact with. Yeah, I think this is good. Yeah, let's go with it. I've sided out a lot of creatures. I'm down to 22. I guess that's only a couple. So again, I have the same sort of option here. I can evoke Grief and then Cabal Therapy. What do I want to evoke? These lands are not good. You know, the other thing I can do is turn 2, evoke Grief, hit them, sacrifice Grief to Phyrexian Tower, and then Plague Engineer. That might be a thing. I'm going to keep this. And just play a Wooded Foothills and pass. Yes, I have the evoke Grief into Cabal Therapy line, but I don't think I'm going to run it right now. I'm not going to run that out. I'm going to hope that my opponent plays like a Dragon Rage Channeler or something else. Alright, so they didn't do anything. Run Afoul's not bad here. Okay. Yeah, do I really want Recurring Nightmare, though? I don't know if I need Recurring Nightmare in this matchup. I'm going to pitch it to Grief, and we're going to see how that goes. Exile black card. I'm going to exile Recurring Nightmare. And we're going to see how this goes. So we will hit them. Okay. So Expressive Iteration, Force of Negation, Brainstorm. So I can hit the Brainstorm and then Cabal Therapy, the Expressive Iteration. I think that's a pretty good line. I don't mind that. Yeah, I don't mind that at all. So I'm going to hit the Brainstorm. And then I'm going to sacrifice Grief here. And I have to let that trigger resolve. And then I'm going to Cabal Therapy them. And they can force a negation, but they're not going to. And I'm going to hit Expressive Iteration. All right. They still have a force of negation for this run afoul, but I think that's okay. And I have no more effects. All right. There's a Valk, which they have many of. Of course, I'm kind of out of gas here too. I don't hate the Dryad Arbor. I'm going to play that out and just, you know, just hold it up. I'm not in a rush. Like if they want to bolt it, that's fine. I don't care. All right, Misty Rainforest. That's a land that they've shown me. I can play around the force of negation by doing run afoul on their turn if I have to. Sure. Okay. So I'm gonna get a Bayou here. I mean, I'm already just playing into a bunch of stuff, so I'm just gonna get a Bayou and cast Run Afoul right on their turn. I can't let them untap with Force of Negation on their turn because then they can hard cast it. Okay, they had it. Cool. All right. Well, not a lot I can do there. And endurance is not the best thing for me right here. I mean, it's fine, but like it's a turn late, you know? Like now I need something else. I guess the only other thing I could have done there is maybe like wait till my turn, flash back Cabal Therapy on Dryad Arbor, and then run afoul. I don't know. Well, these are their two cards in hand, or actually they probably have one unknown. I'm gonna just play. I'm gonna play Plague Engineer, and I'm gonna name Human, even though, like, this gives me I have a couple turns to draw out a solution here, but this will stop them from playing any more Dragon Rage Channelers or Delvers. Talk about a difficult matchup. So I don't think they have any more here. Even though this Plague Engineer could have turned a the Murktide into a 4-turn clock instead of a 3-turn clock, I still think this is, or a 5-turn clock instead of a 4-turn clock, I still think this is right. All right. Brutal. This endurance will even grow the Murktide, which is the worst. But at least the endurance, I suppose, can chump the Murktide if it has to. Or I can double chump. That might be the answer here. Okay, they did have the case one. 2 unknown cards. I'm definitely not doing it before blockers. Alright, well, let's cast Endurance. I guess I don't have to return. I don't have to grow their graveyard. So I can just do nothing with this, like not target them. And they have Force of Will. Alright. Okay, man, they've really had it this game. Alright, well, I'm gonna try to get them. Maybe I needed to just use these Cabal Therapies more aggressively. I don't know. This is a difficult game. And they do outrace me even after I play this Endurance. Alright. So I need to draw like a Red Blast won't do it. I need to draw a second Run Afoul or Shriek Maw. Did not get there. I guess that means I'm chumping with Endurance is on chump duty. And I guess I'll just get the beats in here. So this puts them to 7, which is not low enough. They've got a bauble. They know what my top card is, so that means I'm going to fetch out here. I don't want them to know. Have to block, otherwise I die. So the only problem is if I fetch out, if they have bolt, I'm dead. Okay, they're putting Force of Will on top, making the Murktide bigger. Cool. That sort of makes me believe that, So I have options here. Like, I don't win. Like, there's no card in my deck that wins here. Like, Bone Crusher Giant's only 2 damage. Kroxa doesn't win. Did I side out Kroxa? I did. So I sort of need to draw out. I'm going to not crack the fetch, and we'll just see what happens. My opponent draws the Force of Will, so I probably just lose the game here anyway. Yeah. Okay. So I can Green Sun for 3 and sacrifice the token to Grist. Of course, if they have Force of Will, I guess I can hit the Force of Will with Cabal Therapy. Well, I mean, I guess I might as well do this. Having Grist is better than not. What are my other options here? I have to flashback because they have Force of Will in hand and they can hard cast it. So Grist is a good name. Marin doesn't do it. Nothing else here really does it. So I think I have to flashback and then get Grist. So I'm going to do that. We'll flashback here. And I'm going to name Force of Will, which I know they have in their hand. They will probably use it here. Sure. At this point, I think I'm going to Grist. Let's do this. Yeah. I guess the other option is get Endurance for a blocker. That's a bad option, I think. That's a bad option. So I'm just going to Green Sun for 3. And we'll get Grist the Hunger Tide. I arguably should have attacked first, because if they have Lightning Bolt, yeah, I can't do it if they have Lightning Bolt. So I think I'm just gonna sacrifice even before anything, because I guess if they have Lightning Bolt, they bolt the Plague Engineer in response, and I lose the game anyway. So I can get the attack in. And I can't use the Verdant to like get another Dryad Arbor or something. If they have Bolt, I lose the game. All right, so let's do this. All right, Grist is holding out, but okay, they've got a Scalding Tarn and no other effects. All right. Well, I will just mill a token, see what happens. And if they have, I guess I'm not quite dead if they have, well, they didn't have it. Brazen Borrower's what I was thinking. These tokens are real, though. Like, oh, all right, they just straight up concede. Yeah, got there. I don't know what else. I mean, I wasn't killing him that turn. I was just attacking, but glad to get there. I didn't think I was going to pull that game out. Okay, Question, do I want Pernicious Deed on the draw? I should have maybe had that in the whole time. I think these are all no's. So these are the only questionable things. I don't think I want anything different though. I didn't show my opponent anything. I didn't show my opponent the red blasts, which are good. I did show my opponent run afoul, so and they kept in force negations, even though I don't have a lot of non-creatures. I think Plague Engineer is definitely a keep. Fiend Artisan's pretty big too. I think you keep those in. I don't see any world where I don't want things like Bone Crusher Giant. I think Grief's good. Yeah, I think you just play to the board and hope that Endurance is good enough against the Delver creatures. Siding out Marin for a Pernicious Deed may be correct, but I'm going to keep Marin in. I just like Marin too much. Let's go. Let's hope that I can beat Delver. Wow, I'm down a lot on time. Really talking through my lines. This is not the fastest of decks. It's also the first game I've played with this deck in a long time. I don't mind this hand at all. I can fetch out basics, fetch out a... actually, I guess I have 2 basics. Dried Arbor can die, and that's fine. And I can get a Veteran Explorer with Green Sun Zenith. I'm definitely keeping this. Shriek Maw can kill any of their creatures. So I think you open here with Cabal Therapy, and then next turn you get a Shriek Maw or something. I like that draw. So what do I want a Cabal Therapy for here? It's a good question. I think Daze is Daze. I mean, I might have to play into Daze here. So that's worth a consideration. But I think something like I think what I'm really worried about is either like a Dragon Rage Channeler. Although if they had Dragon Rage Channeler, they're playing it over Delver of Secrets. Like, let's be honest. So they don't have that. So I think something like Force of Will, Murktide Regent, or Expressive Iteration are probably the best names. Because of what's in my hand, I think I'm going to go for Murktide Regent. That's probably just what I'm worried about the most. Yeah, Expressive Iteration I think would be a fine name though. Nope. All right, Ponders, Delver. Let's see what they draw. Are they going to brainstorm? Nope. Just draw the Expressive Iteration. All right. Don't mind that draw, but I'm going to play out the Shriek Maw here. I guess the other option here is I can bait with a Green Sun for 1 and Cabal Therapy, and then evoke the Shriek Maw. I don't hate that. So this sort of baits like a Brainstorm into, you know, they can daze it obviously if they get something good. Okay. They're brainstorming. Looking for maybe a Force of Will or a Force of Negation or a Daze. They're pitching the Ponder to Force of Negation. That's fine. And they've played the Delver. So these are... they could have some other card, but these are the most likely cards. And since they brainstorm, they're almost certainly hitting the Delver here. There's the Expressive Iteration. Probably the same one. Could be a different one, but it's probably not. And they got a Mishra's Bauble for free. Must be nice. And I take a bunch of damage here. And they have a Brainstorm for when they Cabal Therapy. So I really have to get something going here. So I think I don't hate Green Sunning again. And then getting a Shriek Maw going if Like, I don't hate that. If they force it, like, I can fetch out and Red Blast and hope they don't have days, I think is the answer. So I'm going to Green Sun again for 1 and hope that they don't have it. Okay, so they forced pitching days. This tells me they probably don't have days. So I'm going to fetch out and Red Blast that force. And what do I want to get here? Because I'm getting a Swamp with the Veteran Explorer, hopefully, I'll probably get Swamp Mountain. I'm going to get like a Taiga here. Yeah, let's get a Taiga. And I'll just Red Blast this. Counter target blue spell. I don't want to do this, but I think I have to do this. Like, obviously I would rather like Red Blast one of those, but I think this is what I have to do. And here I'm going to Cabal Therapy. They're going to fetch out they get to get a land going, and then they can probably Brainstorm again. So I'm going to get the Mountain and a Swamp. And then I can evoke Shriekmaw here and kill one of the Delvers, which probably arguably isn't enough. So, oh, they didn't do it, so I am going to name Brainstorm here. Which they don't have. Okay, they must have put that away. Alright, so I am going to evoke this, although now they have a Dragon Rage Channeler, so that's probably trouble. Alright, well, that's my turn. And that Dragon Rage Channeler will be online immediately. Okay, that's what they drew for turn. Yep. I don't know. I guess I can Fiend Artisan, a negation. Oh, actually, that's a really good draw. I like that. So I need to Fiend Artisan probably an Endurance on my turn. But now that I know that they have Volcanic Island in hand, I'm going to probably play that now. I'll just tap the 2 swamps. For Fiend Artisan, Fiend Artisan is just a 3/3, which is not ideal. I'm going to run afoul here, which just takes out one of those creatures. Alright, and they keep the Dragon Rage Channeler. Yeah. I guess the other thing I could get... Oh, what are they getting? Oh, they're getting an Expressive. Must be nice. And they can even like Expressive into Murktide. Deck's so good. Let's see what they exile here. I'm taking 3, going to 4. Murktide. Awesome. I guess I will have outs because I can get a second Shriekmaw. And what are they bolting here? Oh, they're bolting that thing. And then they can still play the Murktide. Wow, so good. And the Murktide's lethal, so I need to draw something this turn immediately. That's not going to do it. Alright, well, did not get there against Delver. Hard matchup. GG's opponent. Alright, on the draw, don't think I've ever played this opponent. Okay, this is a hand. This hand's fantastic. It's got an Evoked Grief on turn 1 into Malakir Rebirth into Cabal Therapy. This hand's gas. I guess we'll see what my opponent's got. Okay. Alright, we're facing Delver again. Which is okay. That makes me not want to pitch the Shriekmaw. Okay, so that would mean I'm pitching Cabal Therapy, I guess. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna just pitch Cabal Therapy to Grief, and we will see how it goes. Kind of sad because they have good synergy, but I think this is the right play because I can Malakir Rebirth the Grief and put a lot of pressure on him, assuming my opponent does not have Daze and Force. They need 2 things because I'll take one of them if they only have 1. All right, let's look at their hand, take a card. Oh, there are cards here that I don't know what these do. Tap target creature you control gains hexproof. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's super annoying. All right, what's Ledger Shredder? Whenever a player casts their second spell each turn, Ledger Shredder connives. Okay, and that's looting, and they get a +1/+1 counter if it's non-land. They have an Ethereal Forager, which is what I'm going to save the Shriekmaw for, and they have Daze. I have to take the Daze here because I'm going to Malakir Rebirth. Okay, I think for this, I'm going to just fetch a basic, which will be a swamp. And I'm going to Malakir Rebirth my my creature. Okay. It dies. Triggers, enters the battlefield tapped. Triggers again. And I can take something. I'm leaning towards either the Ethereal Forager or the Ledger Shredder. Just take threats. I think I'm going to take the Ethereal Forager, because if they play the Ledger Shredder next turn, I'm going to Shriekmaw it. So let's take the Ethereal Forager. That's a card that can win them the game. Alright. They have 3 cards in hand. And these are what they are. Let's see. And I get to see their 4th card with Delver. Although I guess they can ponder. They got to consider. So Delver is flipped. They're pondering. I guess they have no land, so they need to hit a land drop here. Chooses to shuffle, draws a card. Doesn't hit. My opponent will win the race here. Not the card I was immediately hoping for, but it'll do. So my question here is, do I play around Daze or do I not? I don't think I have the luxury, because like if they consider hit a land drop and then hold up, they can just use this You See a Guard approach spell. So I'm gonna just get in an attack, and then I'm gonna evoke Shriekmaw. Take out the Delver. It's whenever you cast your second spell each turn. Alright. Yep, let's just do the Verdant. I'm gonna fetch basics, learned my lesson in the last game, and I will evoke the Shriekmaw. Alright. So that's okay. My opponent might be sensing a pattern. That's fine. Alright, they are considering, because they need to hit a land drop. Draws a card. Still no land. Cool. I'm hesitant to give them to give them the Veteran Explorer, but we're going to do it anyway. And then I'm going to swing. And I'm just keeping the pressure up. I mean, I will eventually get there, and actually with Field of the Dead, if I can kill this Veteran Explorer, that does get me to primetime mana. My opponent has preordained with crazy art. Let's see. They scry 2, put 2 cards on the bottom, so still didn't hit a land. Still didn't hit a land. Alright. Alright, this clock's 5 now. This is a real clock. Can't play Marin this turn. But I will play Marin next turn. Getting back the Shriekmaw would be just devastating. Alright, they're considering. Hit a land? They just concede. Okay, well, I got lucky there, I think is the right answer. Because, you know, normally there's no way to keep Delver off mana that long. But such is life. Okay, so I think this is not dissimilar to last game. You know, basically boarding in these 6. Pernicious Deed, like, it's just not as good against Delver as it once was, mostly due to Murktide Regent. So, again, Delver. I think the Riveteers, again, they're probably just slow for this matchup. Like, this is not where you want to be. Collector Roof and Outland Liberator are not good in this matchup either. I think the rest of this is mostly okay. Malakir Rebirth is arguably not good, but I'm hesitant to cut a land in this matchup. It could be Liliana Heretical Healer. It could be. That might be the cut here. Because I think I want all the griefs. I think I want Marin. Definitely want the Shriek Maws. Yeah, let's cut Liliana. I cut Croxa last time. Do I want to keep Croxa or get Liliana? Alright. I'm going to ditch Croxa again. You know, it is still just like a 6/6 that beats down. I'm going to ditch the Liliana. Alright, we're going to see how that goes. That's a slightly different sideboarding than last time, but we'll see if I can get lucky. My opponent's thinking about it. Oh, they're thinking about the die roll, so they just haven't clicked the yes button yet. Okay, unfortunately, ooh. Huh. I don't think this hand works. You know, like you can evoke Grief and then sack it to Phyrexian Tower and then Cabal Therapy again and just hope to get there in terms of lands. But it's so risky. I'm going to have a Cabal Therapy, though, in the graveyard. Like, I'm one forest away from just having a ton of mana and a Green Sun Zenith. This is a gamble, but I'm going to keep it. This is risky. I'm going to be straight up. But my turn one play, I'm going to evoke Grief and then Cabal Therapy. This is unless I draw a forest, literally. If I draw a forest, I might play this differently. I didn't. So I'm going to play the Phyrexian Tower because my turn one play is going to be Sacrifice Grief and then Cabal Therapy again. Alright, so we're griefing. And I want to click on that one first. We'll take a card from their hand. Got a bunch of forces and stuff. So I definitely want to hit Force of Will. So I think I can take the Force of Negation or take the Consider even. I can basically I'm forcing them to force this, or I hit them with Cabal Therapy, but I really don't want them to have a Force of Will. I think I'm going to take the Force of Negation. This forces them to take... do I want to do that? Let's see. They considered. I don't know if I care that much about the forces. Like, after this turn, I don't know if I... Oh, my opponent just conceded. Oh, they said gotta go. Alright, well, sort of won by default. This was a pretty good... I mean, if I draw a forest, I'll draw a card. I never do this, but... Oh. Yeah, I was probably losing this game. Glad to get a concession from my opponent. Because otherwise, I don't know how I was winning that game. Alright. Yeah, if I don't draw a forest for 5 more turns, that's going to be dicey. See if I can keep a good streak going. Oh, hello Newton. This is a well-known Elves player. I don't... I mean, it's hard to pass up a hand against Elves that has Plague Engineer. The problem is on the draw, I don't even know if I survived to turn 3. With no other interaction. I'm going to keep it. My game is terrible against Elves, game 1. So, like, it's hard to pass up a Plague Engineer. Yep. Elvish Reclaimer. Play an elf that doesn't die. I'm just going to play out a Verdant and pass. I've played against this player, and I've been on Dead Guy Ale a few times, so they might suspect Dead Guy Ale here. But if they just go for like a turn 2 Glimpse Chain or even a turn 3 Natural Order or something, like, I just don't see how I win this game. Okay, you got a Visionary. Uh-oh. Oh, man. Really, they're going off to the races. Yep. Nothing I can do there. I'm going to fetch out Basic Swamp, which still doesn't reveal that I'm not on Dead Guy Ale, which is the last time that this player saw me play something. So I'm just going to fetch out Basic Swamp. I'm just thinning my deck here. I fully expect... Okay. I can Grief here. But so if I... This is just sad. If I Grief, I have to pitch the Plague Engineer and then Malakir Rebirth them, which I don't think is what I want to do against Wirewood Symbiote and Elvish Visionary. Or I can Grief pitching Malakir Rebirth. I think I do want to Grief, because if they have Natural Order, I just lose the game. Or if they have Glimpse, I probably also lose the game. So I think I have to Grief here. It's sad, but I'm going to Grief and pitch Malakir Rebirth, which seems like crazy talk. But I think that's what we're going to do. Okay. Oh my gosh, they have everything you would want. I'm losing this game. I'm almost certainly losing this game. I have to take the Natural Order. I think I can't win if they Natural Order. Allosaurus Shepherd at least will die to Plague Engineer. I still might die this turn, though. The other option, I think, is take the Glimpse, which forces them to Nat Order this turn. Maybe I'll do that. And even if they get something like Progenitus, yeah, I don't have outs to Progenitus, but yeah, I'm going to take the Glimpse. If they have Progenitus, like, I lose the game. I mean, I don't think I beat either of those cards, and they had both of them. So I'm also sort of like vaguely representing some sort of opposition agent play here, which I don't have, of course, but like my opponent doesn't know that. There's Allosaurus Shepherd. They can tap for a bunch of mana. There's the Bayou. So they've still got Natural Order. They're considering it. This is, let's see. Oh, they can do it. Oh, I think I'm just dead here. I mean, they're gonna Allosaurus Shepherd here. Yep. Guess I'm not quite dead. Don't hate Liliana Heretical. It's a way to survive this game for a turn. Although I think they're just gonna Natural Order me next turn. But this on Elf is at least doing something. Yep. Kill 2 Elves. They still have 4 mana. I don't know if there's a way through this. Oh, nope. But now they can Natural Order still. Boom. There it is. Crater Hoof, and that's lethal. I guess there's no point to blocking. I'm just dead. Okay. Cool. No worries. That was fine. So those are definitely in. Shriekmaw's in. That's probably it. I don't think I have anything else for Elves. Again, Riveteers is probably a little slow for this matchup. What else is... But there might be other things. Oof is definitely out. Although it is a blocker. Outland Liberator's not very good. Maybe I'll cut 1 Riveteers and run a Shriekmaw and try to make this work. I don't think any of the rest of this does anything. Run a Foul can... Yeah, that's not what I want. Yep. Non-creature spell. Well, Elves plays creature spells, so that doesn't do anything. Awesome. I think this is the deck. Hope to draw some of my like one of removal, like Bone Crusher and Shriek Maw, and just little things like that, and really get them. And you got to really rely on discard between the Cabal Therapies and the Griefs this matchup. I would like to play. This hand is okay. I don't hate this actually. So I have a turn 1 Veteran Explorer, turn 2 Fiend Artisan, and I can sacrifice that and then Bone Crusher something. I think this is okay. We'll see how this goes. Alright, my opponent's casting Once Upon a Time. Got a Reclaimer. Casting Reclaimer. Sounds good. Okay, so I can Bone Crusher here. I don't dislike that. I kind of like that. The only reason why I don't like that is not casting the Bone Crusher gets them one closer to like going off, but getting Fiend Artisan online as fast as possible is basically like that's how I get to Plague Engineer. Although Plague Engineer doesn't kill Reclaimer. So maybe I will do this, and I'm just gonna Bone Crusher that that Elvish Reclaimer. And I'll do it off of Taiga. Stomp. Alright, so I can always cast the Bone Crusher next turn, but I think I'm going to cast Fiend Artisan. Because I really need to get to... I have to get to Plague Engineer. Okay. So, yeah, I don't mind this. So I think the play here is Fiend Artisan and then actually Green Sun for Dryad Arbor. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, I'm sort of shields down here for a turn. But next turn I can Fiend Artisan for Plague Engineer, sacrificing Veteran Explorer. My opponent technically can Natural Order still by tapping Gaia's Cradle for 3 and then untapping the Dryad Arbor. Elves it's a difficult deck to play. I've never had any success with it, but it's powerful right now. Okay. Alright, well now they can definitely Natural Order. Grist the Hunger Tide. Okay. It's kind of interesting. Wonder what their play here is. Okay. Playing the Visionary again. They're probably ticking down Grist to kill the yep. Okay, they're killing the Fiend Artisan, which is smart. Okay. Cool. So I'm going to try to bait them putting the Visionary into their hand by attacking. So I'm going to attack both things at Grist. He's got one token, or one loyalty. We'll see what my opponent does here. Okay, so they are going to double block, return the Visionary. This at least gets the wirewood off the table. Yep. At this point, we're going to Cabal Therapy away the Elvish Visionary. And then I can decide what I want to do in terms of anything else. Okay, got a Visionary. My opponent has another Wirewood Symbiote. Okay, so got the Visionary. I can take their Endurance and then play Bone Crusher. Doesn't seem bad. I mean, it at least forces them to block with the Grist token. Alright, let's do it. So, we'll get Endurance here. So here for lands, I need... Oh, I guess I'll get a mountain and a snow-covered forest. Do I have 2 black? I do. I can. Alright. So mountain and snow-covered forest. Alright. I'll hit Endurance. Alright. Cool. And then I'm just going to cast the Bone Crusher. I'll hold up Endurance as a trick still. And I don't think I have anything else really to get here. Okay. Oh, my opponent just top decks a Visionary and a Wirewood Symbiote. Pretty good. That's pretty good. I'm going to be honest. Oh, just natural order. Not a lot I can do there. And I don't have any outs to that. Riveteers Ascendency. Let me look at the deck. I don't think there's any outs to Progenitus in the deck. Bone Crusher Giant, if it were in the... Yeah, no. I mean, there's just nothing that does anything against Progenitus here. Pernicious Deed for 10. Yeah, I think this is just over. Yeah, that's pretty unfortunate. I don't think there's any way out of this one. I don't see any way to kill Progenitus. Yeah, I mean, I'll play it out, I guess, but pretty sure I'm just dead. I'll play Riveteers Ascendency and then just sit back. We'll see what my opponent does. Not attacking into a Progenitus that just kills me. All right. I think this is where I lose the game here. I can't think of anything that really kills Progenitus here. I can't even evoke the Endurance. Okay, well, they're bogging me anyway. Can't block Progenitus. Alright, more Once Upon a Time. More Visionary. Alright, let's go. Yield until the end step. Alright. We'll crack this. Oh, I gotta get something that produces black. I'll get a Badlands. Or I'll get a... Yeah, I'll get a Badlands. And just cast the Endurance. I think nobody. And we'll see what I draw, but this game pretty sure is over. Yeah, it doesn't do anything. Alright, well, that's game. My opponent's got me. Elves is not a favorable matchup for this deck for sure. Yeah, not a lot I can do. On the draw against Micrograms, I haven't played this. I have played this person, but I don't remember what they were on. I too am in a mulligan. This hand just Malakir Rebirth is functionally doesn't do anything. I mean, I guess I can sack out Outland Liberator twice. Yeah, this hand's not good. This hand's okay. I'm gonna keep this. I'll put back the duplicate forest because I can Cabal Therapy, Bone Crusher, hopefully have something else, and then Grief on turn 4. Seems okay. If it really looks like a combo matchup, I can Grief on turn 1, or if I draw something. So we'll see how it goes. Mox Diamond, alright. This is probably some sort of land stack, or it could be depths, could be like green-white depths. Blast Zone, this is looking more like lands. There's Life from the Loam. Alright. So I think on turn 1, I'm just going to Cabal Therapy, naming Crop Rotation. Got it. Okay. Okay. So here they're going to Loam. Yep. Play the land, tick up. I can Bone Crusher the Urza Saga construct token. Might be worth it. Ooh. I think I'm going to Bone Crusher. I'm going to Bone Crusher at the end of turn off of a basic. I can't do it off of basic if I want to cast Endurance next turn. So maybe I won't do it off of basic. So here my opponent will make the construct. I'm still going to Bone Crusher it before it's out of reach. And I'm going to do it off of a Taiga. Yep. So I don't have a card to pitch to Endurance here. So I'm going to hope they... I guess they didn't Life from the Loam. So they're going to Urza Saga here, and I'm going to hope they don't draw a... I'm going to hope they don't draw like a Wasteland for my Taiga. Let's see what they get here. Expedition map. Blast Zone. Alright. Okay. I'm going to just sit back. I will Endurance them at the end of turn or in response to Life from the Loam. Alright, and then they'll hold back the construct token most likely. Alright, so it blanks their Life from the Loam. They do have a maze, I think, in hand, was it? So they have... Blast Zone's not here, the drop's not here, there's a Wasteland. Wasteland's not as big of a deal now. Drop of Honey. At the beginning of your upkeep, destroy the creature with the least power. It can't be regenerated. Okay. It's kind of interesting. I can blow up the Drop of Honey with the Outland Liberator, which doesn't seem that bad. You know what I can do here, actually, is... Oh, let's see. If I play the Outland Liberator has the least power. Destroy the creature with the least power. It can't be regenerated. 2 or more creatures are tied for the least power. You choose one of them. Okay. So here's what I can do. I think you attack here with Endurance. My opponent will block so that they think that the Endurance will be the least power, and then I'll blow up the Endurance. Yeah, I think that's the play. It's not a fantastic play. I'm going to blow up, sorry, the Drop of Honey. So my opponent probably blocks here. They did not. That's a little curious. So at this point, I will play the Outland Liberator. And then I think in response to the Drop of Honey trigger, I can blow up the Drop of Honey. So I think this works, and then the construct will be... Oh, the construct has the same power. Oh, this was a total mistake. My opponent gets to choose, and they'll choose the Endurance. Oh, that was... Okay. Play error. Whoops. I did not realize how that was going to work. I don't know why. For some reason, I thought Endurance was have 1 more power than the construct. But I read the card, so I don't know. Ouch. And now I have nothing. Wow, I may have punted that game away. And at this point, yeah, my opponent has Wasteland, Thespian Stage, Dark Depths. Cool. It was going to be an uphill battle, but I totally punted this game. All right. I mean, I can play a Bone Crusher. My opponent's just going to play a Dark Depths. I mean, I guess. I don't know. You know, I don't think the Bone Crusher does anything. I'm going to play Kroxa. I don't think this does very much either, but I think I'm pretty much dead because I don't think there's much in the way of outs here. I play aired that pretty badly, but I'm not sure I was winning this game anyway. Oh, man. All right. So 1 turn clock with the Dark Depths. All right. That doesn't work. I don't have a forest to chump with the Endurance for a turn, so I'm just dead. All right. Tough matchup. Definitely want the Surgicals. Probably want the Runafowls. Definitely want Magus of the Moon. I don't know if I want Masked Vandal. And I don't think I want Pernicious Deed. They sometimes do run Field of the Dead, so Pernicious Deed is a consideration. Shriekmaw is the dead card in the matchup, so that's out. Bone Crusher is not very good, so I might side that out too. Same with Plague Engineer, it's not very good. Let's see, I need at least 3 more. To be honest, like the Griefs and the Malakir Rebirth, I might trim 1 Malakir Rebirth, but I don't think Grief is very good here, because they just have so much recursion. So I might trim those down. Bring these in. I wouldn't mind a Pernicious Deed, but I think my plan this game is try to get Fiend Artisan into Magus of the Moon as quickly as possible. They probably have Punishing Fires, and there's not a lot I can do about that other than hope to maybe Surgical them. Between Collector Roof and Pernicious Deed, I think I'd rather have Pernicious Deed. And then I don't hate the rest of this. Yeah, let's go with this. Tough matchups. It's all Delver and combo. Nic Fit, like if there is a matchup that it's particularly good against, it's probably like some of the fair matchups, the Mavericks, D&Ts, although I don't know, the new D&T is pretty strong. Maybe a control matchup or something like that. I think this hand is just too slow. It does have a turn 3 Riveteers, but the graveyard will be empty. So like, yeah, I just think this is slow. I might mulligan this. This is better. I'm keeping this for sure. And I'll bottom a Green Sun. Yeah, I think this is good. So the question is, do I Dryad Arbor? I think I'm not going to Dryad Arbor here. I don't think Dryad Arbor accomplishes really what I'm trying to get to. We'll see what my opponent's got here. I can evoke Endurance, but I don't want to if I can avoid it. All the green spells in my hand are powerful. Turn 2 Fiend Artisan strong, like it threatens a turn 3, you know, Green Sun for Veteran Explorer. Alright, opponent's got a Mox. Pitching a Thespian stage. Sphere of Resistance is interesting. I think that's okay. So now I can consider Green Sunning for Dryad Arbor again. But I think I'm not going to. I think I'm just going to play Field of the Dead and pass. My opponent might consider like a Wasteland here. I don't know. If they have an Exploration into like Wasteland plus something else, I'm going to be sad. Not a lot going on. Run Afoul is a pretty decent draw. So my options here are Green Sun for Veteran Explorer or Fiend Artisan. I think I'm going to play the Fiend Artisan first. There's just a lot of like good things that can come out of this. And eventually, Fiend Artisan threatens, like, I mean, this is way down the road when I have way more mana. Fiend Artisan threatens something like Primeval Titan, which lands will really struggle to beat a Primeval Titan, which is putting out Field of the Dead tokens and all sorts of things. Getting Karakas. Alright, my opponent is crop rotationing. They might be going for Dark Depths here. I don't know if they're going to do it at the EOT. They might be. If they go for it, they're going to be in trouble. Nope, doing something else. Okay. Nope, they're saving it up for Dark Depths. Okay. So I can't Green Sun for Veteran Explorer because that's all the mana, or that's 3 mana, and then I wouldn't have 1 up for that. So I think I just have to hold up. And if my opponent doesn't go for it, I can always fetch out and just play an Endurance. I I don't think I need to get aggressive here. So my opponent is going for it. We'll let it resolve. And then I'll run afoul here. Now the question is, if they have something like land, life from the loam, do I endurance them? Okay. Nope. Just exploration. Do I want to fetch out Dryad Arbor? Probably not here. I think I'm okay. All right. Well, now I think I'm definitely. I think I'm gonna. I think my play is get Veteran Explorer, sacrifice it this turn, and get Dryad Arbor. So I think that's my. I think that's my play. Yeah, let's do that. It does let my opponent get a forest, but I think that's okay. So we'll get Veteran Explorer, crack this, and then I can sacrifice it for 1 and get Dryad Arbor immediately. I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to get a Bayou here. We'll just crack the Veteran, just because it turns on so much mana for me. And we'll get a mountain and a snow-covered forest. All right. And then I'll get a Dryad Arbor. And I still can evoke Endurance if I have to. Oh, I didn't even realize I was getting a field token. That's awesome. All right. So I can always, let's see what my opponent's got here. Oh, they're gonna crop again. Okay, that's fine. I don't have like an Eternal Witness in this deck, so I don't have a solution to Merit Lodge right here, other than chumping. They're just going for it right away. All right. Yep. My answer here might just be like double endurance, chump block with 1, and then try to go for a next turn after, or the turn after that, go for like a Primeval Titan Karakas play. I'm just gonna check that there's no other outs. I don't think I have anything else. Grist doesn't do it against Primeval Titan, or against Merit Lodge. Shriekmaw doesn't do it. So, no, basically is the answer. So to be honest, actually, I can't even double. I can't double endurance because I guess could I? How many basics do I have here? 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 3 more basics in the deck. Because I can Green Sun for another Veteran Explorer, and then kill the Veteran, sack the Veteran Explorer, and then get 2 more lands. What do I want to? I could sack the Veteran Explorer and get maybe another Endurance or something. I guess it's a play. I don't know if that's. I guess it'll work. The other thing is that Marin can hold off. Marin plus Endurance can hold off Merit Lodge essentially forever. But I have to have an Endurance in the graveyard. So maybe I guess, the first play is let's let's green sun for Veteran Explorer. Oh man, I gotta tap another land. Brutal. Cool. So let's do this. So we're gonna green sun for Veteran Explorer, and then I can Fiend Artisan the Veteran Explorer and get Endurance. So we're just going to keep the mana going. I need to get, and I can't play a second Endurance here, so but I'm going to get another Forest, and I'll get a Swamp. And then I get a chump blocking Endurance, essentially. I don't think Magus of the Moon does it. So yeah, Endurance is the answer here. I'm going to put my opponent's stuff on the bottom. All right, and I'm done. So next turn, Marin of Clan Neltoth ought to lock my opponent almost out of the game here. All right. Let's see what my opponent's got. Surgical targeting Endurance. Holy crap. So I have to Endurance here. And I'm going to pay 1 and Green Sun. I'm going to pitch the Green Sun. Because I think with the Fiend Artisan I'm good. And I will do myself here. All right. You know, I probably could have done that where the Endurance would be in my graveyard. That would have been better. So my opponent's Surgical does not resolve. All right, let's see what I got here. So I'm going to have quite a few lands here. And my opponent is going to have to start thinking about taking damage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I can definitely Fiend Artisan for Marin, and then play Marin, and then Endurance, block, and then return the Endurance on my turn to my hand. I think that that's pretty good. I think that will do it. So yeah, I think that's good. And I'm going to need 4 mana for Endurance plus 5 mana. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for Marin. So I think that I can actually get aggressive with the Dryad Arbor. So I'm going to do that. And take a bunch of my opponent's life total. All right, I'm going to crack this fetch. Get a non-basic. Boy, MTGO is so slow right now. Cool. And we'll tap the non-basics. I'm going to do 4. Yep. 4. Done. We'll sacrifice the Dryad Arbor. Get Marin. Marin returns the Dryad Arbor at the end of turn. To play. All right. And now I'm threatening lethal against my opponent. So they sort of have to sit back. So here I play another Endurance, and I'm going to just block, and yeah, my opponent loses the game. Awesome. Okay, so I was able to get through Merit Lodge. Good stuff. I'm going to actually pause and restart MTGO real fast because it's slowing down a lot. All right, let's see if we can do this better. Oh. All right, so I lost my sideboarding. Want the Surgicals, want the Magus of the Moon, want the Run of Fowls. Don't want any of that. And probably at least one Pernicious Deed. And what did I say was bad? I think Collective is worse. I think Malakir Rebirth is not really what I want right here. Although I need one because I just need the land count. Riveteers Ascendency seems okay. I might board down one, and I might board down a Grief. Shriekmaw's a dead card in the matchup. Bone Crusher's a mostly dead card in the matchup. The rest of these seem okay. I don't hate Liliana. I don't hate Recurring Nightmare either. Recurring Nightmare can get blown out by crop rotation though, but I don't know if it's the biggest deal. Grist the Hunger Tide isn't stellar, but it's okay. 50 seconds. Definitely bringing in those. I think I do want one more Pernicious Deed. I don't remember what the other card I cited out for was. It might have been another Grief. It probably was. Alright, we're going to go with this. 21 creatures. We'll see how it goes. So if I can get a Magus of the Moon, that's typically a winner. If I can get it early. I don't hate this. This hand's okay. It can't really beat a fast Merit Lodge, but like Outland Liberator is really powerful. So I don't hate that. I might even throw a Green Sun in to just ramp. So I don't mind this at all. My opponent has mulliganed to 6. They've got a Mox Diamond start with Karakas. All right. So I'm going to just throw the Green Sun into it and get the Dryad Arbor going. All right. And next turn I can Outland Liberator and hold up, which is really nice. What are they crop rotationing away? What are they doing here? Okay, looks like a fast Merit Lodge. I don't have a ton of solutions to that, but we'll see what they got. There's Dark Depths. There's Sphere of Resistance. Cool. Not sure there's a ton of things I can do against a Sphere of Resistance. But I can fetch a basic out and try to get started. Let's get a Swamp. And the Outland Liberator will cost 3. And if my opponent casts no spells, I will attack and then maybe try to still bait something. Alright, my opponent can totally Merit Lodge, but they didn't play a spell, so I'm going to get a Outland Liberator double trigger, and I basically have to draw like Run Afoul or Endurance or something. This is sad. This is exactly what I said that this hand wasn't that great against, a very fast Merit Lodge. Which isn't always what this deck does. Like, this deck can be very grindy, but they went for the fast Merit Lodge. It looks like. Drawing a Run Afoul would be amazing. What do they got going on here? Okay. Okay. Grist the Hunger Tide does not do it. So if they make Merit Lodge here, I think I'm just dead, actually. Because I don't think there's a blocker at 2 mana. Let me look here. The fact that I haven't played this already sort of tells my opponent something as well. Yeah, Grist the Hunger Tide doesn't do it. None of these really do it. I also could have drawn Karakas, I suppose. Well, I can sort of bait my opponent here and make them think maybe I have something. But I mean, I don't have anything. So I think I'm just dead. But I'm going to attack with the Frenzied Trap Breaker and blow up the Sphere of Resistance and see what they do then. We'll start by blowing up Sphere. We'll see what my opponent does. All right. I guess I can Green Sun for Endurance here. They're going to Crop Rotation here. Okay. They can still make Dark Depths. They have a Wasteland. All right. So it warns me. So I'm going to blow up the Mox Diamond here. They will now make Dark Depths. And then I think I just lose here. They have no permanents in play. But I don't think I can beat this. If I had a Caracas, this would be like, my opponent would be furious and probably concede the game. But I don't think I have any outs here. Recurring Nightmare doesn't do anything. The Dried Arbor's in the graveyard. I can't Green Sun here for anything that matters. And Grist can't flip anything that matters. So I think this is just it. Good job, opponent. You got this one. I guess my opponent had to play in to run afoul. But that's a shame. Anyway, all right. All right, on the draw. Don't think I've ever played this person. All right. Let's see how it goes. See if we can turn this around and you know, salvage the league to a 2-3. I don't hate this. It has an early Shriek Maw if I have to. I have to fetch non-basic, but I think this is okay. I'm going to keep it. And if they are a combo deck, I have an early Endurance. So I think this is fine. Looking like Delver again. Endurance is really good in that matchup. All right. So I think I have to do Bayou Cabal Therapy here if I want to do that. This is risky because if they wasteland me, I'm in big trouble. But there's no other way to get black mana anyway off of a Wooded Foothill. So I'm gonna get a Bayou, and we will Cabal Therapy. And I'm not gonna name Dragon Rage Channeler, so it's either Murktide or Expressive, I think. I'm gonna go Murktide. The other possibility, yeah, I'm gonna go Murktide. Nope. Oh man, they played Delver over Dragon Rage Channeler. I would have loved to hit that Dragon Rage Channeler. Man. All right. And they have Wasteland, of course. You're going to Brainstorm. So they take a risk here, because if they Wasteland me and I have like Veteran Explorer, if I top deck a Veteran Explorer, which admittedly is unlikely, you know, then I can Cabal Therapy away 2 Dragon Rage Channelers. That's not going to do it. Alright. Well, I think we just play the Taiga and pass. And be sad when my opponent goes Dragon Rage Channeler into Lightning Bolt or something. Alright. Yep. Wonder what they're going to do here. Okay, not playing the other Dragon Rage Channeler. I guess just getting one out of their hand is pretty good from a risk perspective. Okay. They don't want to lose both Dragon Rage Channelers. So playing one is, you know, yeah, maybe I can get the second one, but it's not that big of a deal. All right. This is not good. I mean, I don't want to grief. Maybe I should have griefed there, to be honest. We'll see. I am sort of like one land away from... Okay. If I can get a forest, like I can Endurance. If I can get a swamp, I can Shriekmaw. Like I'm taking a lot of damage, but I'm not far from turning this around. Even a Green Sun Zenith could get me a Veteran Explorer. But yeah, I'm in big trouble here. Yeah, I lose the game. I guess I might as well grief here, just to look at my opponent's hand. But I don't think, like, endurancing their cards back to save 4 life is not, like, that doesn't matter when you have lightning, when my opponent has lightning bolt. Yeah, this game's over. All right, so it's Delver again, which is fine. So let's go Shriekmaw. I think it was the 3 Red Blasts and 2 Run of Elves. That was what I cited in, and I cited out the Riveteers Ascendencies, Cabal Collector Roof. I think I cited out... I think I wanted all that stuff. Definitely want that. This is not great. Maybe I'll cut the Recurring Nightmare. Like, it seems too situational in this matchup. So that's 5. So it's probably Kroxa or Outland Liberator. I'll do the Outland Liberator. All right, let's go. Okay. Yeah, this is fine. I'm keeping this. Hand's great. Yeah, I'm just gonna play the forest and pass. So this just ramps into, you know, threats. I can play the Shriekmaw here, which I don't hate. Or I can evoke Grief and then play the Shriekmaw. I don't mind that either. I do have sort of an extra Fiend Artisan, so maybe I will do that. I'm going to evoke Grief, and then we'll see what happens here. Let's see what my opponent's got going on. Surgical Extraction. Forked Bolt, Expressive Iteration, Daze. Yuck. Alright, I'm just going to take the Daze and then blow up the Delver, because I have Endurance for the Dragon Rage Channeler. Alright, and my opponent didn't have no Wasteland. They have to ponder next turn. Although they might be able to ponder and cast something else. Alright, I'm gonna go Bayou, Shriekmaw. You know, the other option is Bayou, Fiend Artisan, and then Shriekmaw the following turn. I don't dislike that. It sort of baits a kill spell onto the Fiend Artisan. You know what? No, I'm going to evoke the Shriekmaw, because then the Fiend Artisan's 1 bigger. And I might be able to bait the Surgical onto... My opponent has a Surgical Extraction. I might be able to bait the Surgical onto something to try to shrink the Fiend Artisan. I don't know. Alright, let's look at my opponent's cards. Ponder, sure. So my opponent's got 3 types in their graveyard, so if they draw land, the Dragon Rage Channeler will be on, which it is. And they are going to Surgical the Shriekmaw. So that baits something. It could be worse. And Fork Bolt just does 2 damage, so that will kill the Fiend Artisan now if they cast it. So I might just hold up the Endurance. They saw my hand. So I think maybe I'll just Endurance right now. That might be the right answer. Just if they have days, like, that's lame, but well, they didn't, so. Alright. Probably should have cast Expressive before doing that, but maybe they have some other plan. Just fill the graveyard with cantrips. Not a bad plan, to be honest. I'd really like to get something in the graveyard to make Fiend Artisan a little bit bigger, like out of Forked Bolt range. Well, I could just Cabal Therapy the Forked Bolt. I don't know if I love that, but it's like, I could also get Expressive Iteration, but I think Forked Bolt is, I think that's a pretty good name here. So Expressive Iteration gets them a bunch of cards, but Fiend Artisan, let's see, they've taken my Shriek Maws. Yeah, I think I will take the Forked Bolt. Leave them the Expressive Iteration. I guess I could take the Expressive Iteration off the Fiend Artisan. I don't hate that, to be honest. My opponent will have sorcery and ints and land only. Alright. I don't love sacrificing the Fiend Artisan here, but I think it's better than... I think I just can't let my opponent get Expressive Iteration. I think it's just too good. Yep. Alright. Let's go, opponent. We're both hellbent. Not sure this favors me, because they can just, like, get a Murktide and, you know, try to kill me. Okay, well, I will block and force the 2-for-1. It does turn on Dragon Rage Channeler. One turn too late. Alright, let's see what I can do here. Yep. Alright. Ugh, brutal. Alright. Get to see 4 cards and get rid of the lands and take the good stuff. Okay. Took a Surgical. They're going to Surgical Endurance, which is pretty bad for me. There aren't a lot of answers now to what they have going on. Are there even any answers? I guess there's... Ugh. Yeah, not a lot. There's like Grist. They've Surgicaled away Endurance and Shriek Maw, which are like my answers. I guess I have Run Afoul still. But yeah, it's looking bad. Alright, well, I can't double Grief here. I don't want to anyway, so I'm just gonna Grief. We'll take the Brainstorm and just pass. Not sure why they didn't cast that. All right, well, we're swinging. Let's see what my opponent's got. But I'm in big trouble. There's days. So it's my opponent's leaving the Delver back, which is weird because that's really weird. Okay, so they have days, so I can't get a 4, but I could get a 3. I guess I could have played out the Malakir Rebirth the previous turn. Don't have. I guess I have Grist. I've Grist the Hunger Tide, which is not like that. That will work, I suppose. So I guess we attack with the Grief. And then sack the Vet to kill the Dragon Rage Channeler. Yep. We're just going to Green Sun for 3. My opponent's got a Daze. Okay. Okay. I'll pay 1 for it. All right. We get Grist here. I'm going to kill the Dragon Rage Channeler, which I think is more important than killing the Delver. All right. I'm going to get the other basics. I'm going to get these cooler looking basics. My opponent now has to sort of choose between going after my life total or killing Grist. So I think that's okay. I think that's okay. I'm still in bad shape, but I'm not dead. Okay, they're saving my life total. Do I win this race? Probably not if my opponent's got a Murktide region here. All right. Okay, second Delver. Field is okay. So my opponent actually does need to do something here. Because I think I actually win this race. Like, well, you know what? Yeah. No, they're at 6. Okay. So I don't win this race. Shoot. I guess we'll see what my opponent's got here. So they brainstormed into Delver. They have a Dragon Rage Channeler, which is that's gonna be able to kill me. Oh, they didn't flip the Delver. That's weird. But now I need an out or I just lose here. And that is not going to do it. That's not going to do it. Well, I'm going to swing with everything and see what my opponent does and sort of pretend like I have a solution here, which I do not. Yep. All right. Yep. And I just lose to what's on board, so I guess that's it. All right. So, thoughts on the league. Completed the league with a 1-4. Faced Delver 3 times, Elves, and what was the other one? Lands. All right. So Delver 3 times, lands, and Elves, and I was able to win 1 Delver matchup by concession. The deck felt close, to be honest. Like, some parts of it felt close, but like, you know, facing Delver 3 times is probably bad because that's the best deck in the format. Yeah, I don't know. It was rough. It was rough out there. The Malakir Rebirths didn't feel that strong. It sort of was a stranded card in my hand at the end of that other game. And a couple other times, like I had to pitch it to Grief one time, which was super weird. Although, you know, I suppose that game I could have pitched the Plague Engineer to Grief and then Malakir Rebirth and I'd be in okay shape. Regardless, it was rough. I never did the thing with Riveteers Ascendency. I did board it out against Delver, so that's fair. Because I think it's just too slow in that matchup. But, you know, just the deck, it felt a little clunky. I don't think it quite was where I wanted to be. If, like, I would not play this deck in a competitive, like if I was playing in a competitive tournament, I don't think I would play this. I mean, that's probably not why you play Nic Fit anyway. But I think it was still rough. Although it did feel close in some ways. Like having the pitch elementals felt powerful. Like those are just really powerful cards. But the deck just never got online. Not once. The only time I guess you could really say like I got online was when I looped Marin with Endurance to blank out a Merit Lodge. Like that was it, you know. Otherwise the deck felt very vulnerable to things like Surgical, and it just didn't feel that strong overall. If I were to cut things, I think the sideboard could probably use some work. Maybe I just didn't face the right matchups for things, but you know, the run-of-fouls seemed good actually in all those matchups. Like the run-of-fouls were never dead except against Elves, so you know I faced the right matchups for a lot of these cards. But yeah, the deck it just needs something else. I'm not sure what that thing is to really turn this on. You know, like if your turn 3 play is a Riveteers Ascendency that doesn't impact the board, you know, you don't have a Grief to pitch to it right after or something, like that's just not good enough in Legacy right now. So that's sort of where I'm at. I might give this deck one more try, but it was, you know, it to be honest, it just didn't work, but the matchups were not that favorable for it. So that's about where I'm at with it. Well, anyway, hope you enjoyed this Nic Fit content, and if you want to read more about Nic Fit, you should check out nicfitmtg.com. I'm David, and I hope you have a good one.